Hi, I'm Bob Voss, also known as New Business Bob. Welcome to the New Business Bob Show. Come on into the classroom, sit down. You're here to learn. New Business Bob is all about helping people start and succeed at the business of your dreams. Thanks for showing up. Today we're going to talk about a topic that a lot of new business owners have an issue with. In fact, they have a lot of issues with any topic dealing with finances. But today we're going to talk about two important things: gross margin and gross margin percentage. And I'm going to show you what each of these are. And gross margin and gross margin percentage are something that's really critical. If you're having to go out in your new business and you're going to go out and raise money from either debt financing, which is from a bank, or equity financing, where you sell parts of your company to raise money, in both cases, bankers and investors are going to be really concerned with what are your gross margin and what is your gross margin percentage. So let's get started. Wait a minute, we got to go to the board. Let's go to the board. Come on. Okay, so what are the formulas for gross margin and gross margin percentage? Well, the formula for gross margin is selling price minus cost of goods sold, COGS. Cost of goods sold is whatever it costs you to make or to get what you are selling, equals gross margin. Now, there's another name for gross margin, and it's called gross profit as well. Both of those are kind of simultaneous. So that's how you figure out your gross margin or your gross margin percentage or gross profit. But now to figure out your gross margin percentage, you take your gross margin and divide it by the selling price. And that equals your gross margin percentage. Now, let me give you an example. Let's suppose, as an example, you sold lamps for your business. That was your business. You sold lamps. And a lamp was $35. That's what you sold the lamp for. That was a selling price. And what did it cost you to make the lamp? Well, you had some stuff in there. You had some wood. You had some screws and all this. And let's just say that the cost of goods was $5.80. Okay, then your gross margin per lamp is $5.80 minus $35, or $29.20. That's your gross margin. And so every time you sell a lamp to anybody, you're making roughly 30 bucks. Okay, that's actually really good. Then to figure out your gross margin percentage, which is really important for bankers and investors, you take the $29.20 and divide it by the selling price, which is $35, and you come up with, what is that figure? Oh yes, I have it off the top of my head. It's 83%, which is a very good figure for handling all of this stuff. Now, what gross margin should you have? It depends on the industry. It depends on the business. When I was in the videotape business, when I was selling a product called Video Buddy, and we were selling videotapes along with it, we were selling videotapes at $12.95 each, and they were costing us $1. Our gross margin percentage was over 90%. We made more money off of videotapes than we did off the actual hardware. So each business is different, but for your individual industry, you got to kind of calculate this stuff. So what happens if you're a consultant? Consultants are a little bit different. Let's say they charge $100 an hour. What is their cost of goods in $100 an hour? Well, there really isn't any. They get the whole $100, so the gross margin is really 100%. So it depends, but for your individual business, you got to kind of know this stuff. Let me tell you what's really important. This figure right here really is, as you're starting your new business, will determine your profitability. When I'm teaching business planning and I'm teaching people how to start a business, I tell them to start with a goal, a financial goal that they want to accomplish for their business. So let's say your goal is, I want to make $1,000 a month. If I want to make $1,000 a month and I'm making $29.20 off of each of the business or each of the lamps that I sell, how many do I have to sell? I have to sell approximately between 30 and 40 lamps a month in order to make what I want. Mark, do you have the real answer there for what that is? You don't, do you?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, go on. Mark, come on. Hurry up. I'm on camera here. Can you come up with the answer really quick? Divide $29.20 into 1,000. Lori, can we cut some of this stuff while we're doing this?
Calculator.
So this is really important, though, because if you've got a goal and you want to make, let's say, $1,000 a month, this now will tell you how many lamps you have to sell and how many customers you actually need in order to make your business viable so that you're making what you want to make. The answer is about 34. So if you're in this lamp business, you've got to sell 34 lamps a month in order to make the $1,000 that you want. That's really important figure. Let me give you an example of what happened in one of my classes a few years ago. I had a woman come into my classes, and she was married, had a couple kids, and our whole family had food allergies. So she had developed a business creating what are called gluten-free baking mixes. And so if you know anything about gluten-free stuff, a lot of it tastes like cardboard. This didn't. This was really good stuff. She made a banana bread recipe that was unbelievable. And she was making these out of her kitchen and selling them at farmers markets and that. And so the first day of class, I asked her, I said, how much do you charge for a baking mix? And she would charge $6 for a baking mix. And I said, okay, what are your costs of goods sold? She said $320. And so she was only making $280 on her baking mix. And I said immediately to her, you got to raise your prices. And when I said that, she got very offended at me that I was telling to her to raise her prices. But I knew this. I've done this a lot. You can't make the money out of this if you're selling something at $6 and it costs you $320 to do it. You either have to do one or two things if you're going to have a legitimate business. You're either going to have to raise that or you're going to have to lower the cost of goods sold. So during the course of the class, she was doing projections and we were figuring some of this stuff out. And it turns out that she wanted to make $1,000 a month to supplement her family's income. Her husband was working, but she didn't want to raise her prices. So we started talking about this. I said, okay, if you're going to charge this $6 and your cost of goods is $320, you've got $2.80 you're making off each one. Do you know how many of these you have to sell in order to make $1,000? You can divide this out, but it's 347 baking mixes in order to make $1,000. When she realized that, an interesting thing happened. She started to cry. Now, I usually don't have people cry in my classes, but this was a real big thing for her. And she realized for the first time that she was going to have to raise her prices. You know why she didn't want to raise her prices? It was a very good reason. She knew from experience that families that have food allergies are automatically paying a whole lot more for food than the other normal families who don't have food allergies. And she didn't want to put a burden on these people. That's why she didn't want to raise her prices. But she figured something out that was really important. If she would raise her price to $9 and she kept the same $320 in here, now she's making $5.80. And you know what? She only needs about 140 customers now a month to make what she wants to make. Actually, that 140, I think, is 170. So about half of this. That's really now, when I asked her about these two figures, this figure she didn't think she could do, this figure she did do. So she made the decision on a Wednesday, and she was going to the farmer's market that Saturday, and she immediately raised her prices up to $9. And you know what happened? She sold out. The price was not an issue. And now, for the first time in her life, she's actually making what she wanted to make off of her business. One of the things I've seen as a problem with a lot of small business owners is they don't take the time and energy to figure out this pricing stuff, and they generally charge too little for their products or services. Don't get caught in that trap. Make sure you're making what you want to make, but also make sure that what you're selling something for is going to give you the profit that you need to succeed in your small business. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any comments or questions on this, subscribe to my YouTube channel, give me the comments below, and look for more videos where I explain all this stuff so that you can have the new business of your dreams and that business is a success. Thanks for watching this video.